Hello and good afternoon, and welcome to our information session on the not the executive, but the Master of Science in Computer Science at the University of St. Gallen. My name is Jochen Müller. I'm the Executive Director of the School of Computer Science at our university, and I'm pleased to introduce you to our university. I would love to take the first slide, please. Thank you. So, probably you all know the University of St. Gallen. You know our university as a business school, which is teaching and promoting and living an entrepreneurial spirit. You know our university as a business school having teaching, preaching, and living an integrative and holistic approach. You know us for teaching and living responsibility, and all these elements which are associated with a good business school. However, talking about entrepreneurial spirit, talking about innovation, we are extending our university, and from this year on, we are also offering degree programs, academic degree programs in computer science. Starting this year, that's what you are interested in today. Starting this year with a Master of Science in Computer Science, and from next year on, we will also have a bachelor's program, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, which is the first technology-related program at the University of St. Gallen. Before I introduce you to our university and before my colleagues will introduce you to our study program, let me start with the first remarks beforehand. We welcome you to ask questions during the whole presentation. Please do this by using the chat function you have in this meeting here. You're very welcome to send us questions about our study program. Of course, you're very welcome to send us questions about studying, the overall experience of studying at the University of St. Gallen. And also, please, if you experience any technical problems during this presentation, let us know via the chat function that we can fix that as well. I will also like to introduce you to my colleague Andreas. He is the person sitting at the chat and will either answer directly and questions which are of everybody's interest will be forwarded to the presenter so that they can answer it here directly live on stage. Also, if you have any specific questions related to the admission process at the University of St. Gallen, please feel free to address these questions to the email address you're seeing right now on the screen. The background is that these are often legal questions, which our team of specialists will be happy to answer. All specific questions regarding your bachelor's degree, regarding your academic career, and questions related to the admissions to our program, please address them to the admissions office at this email address. Good. So these were my remarks beforehand. Let's start. Thank you. For whatever reason, my clicker is not really working very well. Anyway, that's something we will be able to fix. Today's agenda. First of all, I would like to start with telling you a little bit about the experience of studying at the University of St. Gallen. Secondly, Professor Siegfried Handschuh will introduce you to the curriculum and the experience of the Master of Science in Computer Science to this study program. This program comes in two specializations, which we also explain. One specialization is explained by Simon Meyer, the software and systems engineering, and secondly, we explain also our specialization in data science. And all this is finished with a Q&A session. For the Q&A sessions, we have two students which will be happy to answer your questions from a student perspective. Here you see all the product portfolio of the University of St. Gallen, all the master programs we are offering. You see it's quite a wide variety, most of them from business, economy, and law. And today, of course, we are talking about our computer science master. Well, we all know that studying is not just the experience of having lectures and sitting in seminars and writing homeworks. The experience of being at a university is much broader. And so I'm glad that I can tell you that the environment we can offer you here at our university is, as I feel, a quite pleasant environment. I have not been to school here in St. Gallen. I'm coming from a rather big German university, and compared to that, I must really say that the environment we can offer here is really, really pleasant. We have lots of places where you can work, study, meet with your colleagues, have group works, etc. We have lots of workspaces for this purpose in our university library. We have, there is specially assigned workspace for master students and for people writing on their master thesis. There's a technology which helps you to find an empty seat. We even have a co-working space, actually 2 by now. The most recent one was opened last week. We have our labs in the computer science faculty, and which is kind of a flagship project of the university. We also have a dedicated learning center, which is a separate building gifted by sponsors, which will be mostly available for being there, studying, having group work, and so on. Again, I would say this is quite a pleasant environment we have here. And by the way, the city of St. Gallen is in a beautiful area, close to the mountains, not too far away from the Lake of Constance, not too far away from the city of Zurich, and many other good places. One question which is coming quite frequently is the question, how can I finance my study? Can I work while I'm studying? Well, like in most universities, the answer is that our curriculums in the master programs are designed for full-time studies, for students doing a full-time study program. However, of course, you can do that part-time. It just requires quite a lot of self-organization. It will take longer, of course, because you don't have all the time and all your intellectual power to put in your study program if you go working part-time, but it will be doable. However, the job you have will have to have a flexible schedule so that you are able to take your examinations and go to mandatory courses if some of them are mandatory, and so on. So flexibility in the job is highly recommended. On the other hand, I don't think that it's too difficult to find an adequate job in our environment here. Working, studying, of course, you would like to spend your time also with socializing, making new friends with other students, engaging yourself in different contexts. And for that, the University of St. Gallen is well known for its wide variety of student associations. Clubs organized by students, founded by students, run by students on a wide variety of different topics. I think we have about 200. You see some logos, and you see they come from business-related topics like the Consulting Club. Some of them have a regional aspect with the Scandinavian Club or the Asian Club. Some deal with sports. There's a hiking club as well as the tennis club, which is mentioned here, and many other topics. You will find student associations which deal with that. And if you're interested in one of these topics, they will more than welcome you to join in this. And of course, this is also a good opportunity for your personal development, because all these initiatives give you the chance to engage yourself, to acquire experiences in setting up a project, running a project, getting experience in leadership, taking responsibility, and all these aspects which come with personal engagement. And that will help you, not just for your CV, that may be also interesting, but it will help you personally to develop yourself. Developing is a good word. Sports also quite big at the University of St. Gallen. Here in this cloud, you see some of the kinds of sports you can practice at the university and which are supported by our institution called Unisport, University Sports. Quite popular with many students and here at our university. Also, that's the last aspect I would like to share with you. Studying at a university means also living in the city where the university is. How about life in St. Gallen? First question which always comes is it difficult to find accommodation? Is it expensive to find accommodation? My personal view is that accommodation is not that difficult to find in St. Gallen compared to other maybe bigger cities in Switzerland. Typically, you find something. You find nice apartments, flats, rooms in shared flats, and so on. The cost for that typically starting at maybe 550 francs if you share a bigger flat with 2 or 3 flatmates. Of course, more expensive is always possible, but I would really say that there is accommodation to be found for reasonable cost. Speaking about the total cost of living, including all the tuition fees we have, we calculate with 25 to 30,000 francs per year, which is again, compared to other cities in Switzerland and the cost of living in other cities of Switzerland, we consider this not too bad. Funding is available. You see here a URL of our funding advisory center at the University of St. Gallen. And by the way, one last point regarding that. Many people in Switzerland say that in eastern Switzerland, especially in St. Gallen, the weather is always so bad. I can tell you that's not true. I'm coming from an area where weather is much worse than here, and I was always warned before I came to St. Gallen, be careful, the weather is always so bad there. And nothing of that was proven to be true. Good. I hope many of you have the question, how can I apply and where can I apply? The application process at the university is a digital process. You do that by a website. You see it here. You create yourself a user account, enter all your data, upload electronically all the documents which you need for application. And yeah, that's about it for the application. And of course, we would be happy to receive many applications from your side for our new master program in computer science here. Again, we invite you to ask a question. That was one too much. Sorry. We invite you to ask questions regarding admissions. Feel free to send them to admissions at unisg.ch. They will be more than happy to answer all your specific questions you might have regarding your bachelor degree and all these questions which come up at this point. Good. Furthermore, I will also we will be happy to answer questions in your chat. And with that, I would like to invite you to a little movie, a campus tour on this. You see Andreas here, and Andreas is going to lead you on a short tour over the campus of the University of St. Gallen. Thank you for the moment. We see us after the movie, and feel free to send all your questions to our chat.
Welcome to the campus of the University of St. Gallen. My name is Andreas Oberholzer, and I'm a student of the Master Program Business Innovation. And today, I'm going to give you a campus tour. We have various teaching formats: lectures, flipped classroom, exercises, seminars, and some of the smaller classes, they take place in a room like this one. But what I actually want to show you about this room is the nice view. Because whenever I feel stressed, I just have a look outside and I can instantly relax. Here we are in the Audimax. It's our biggest lecture room. And when lectures are full, we are over 600 students in here. After lectures during the day, we can often benefit from events in the evening, such as podium discussions with leading industry experts. You can come to the library to borrow books and articles for your research, but more than that, it offers you a quiet place for studying, and if you urgently need one, a charging cable for your device. I always say that this is our social area. Why social area? We have the library, we have food, we have the Audimax up there, and that way everyone meets here and there's always a friend to chat to when you're here. The Students' Union not only represents the interests of the students towards the university, but also shapes a landscape of over 120 student initiatives. The clubs range from dance classes to startup programs and sustainability forums. The Career Service Center is my partner in all my questions on what to do after my studies. I can ask for an individual career counseling, participate in one of their workshops, or get to know my future employer at their career fair. We're now in the co-working space. It's a casual place for studying and work. We have a nice coffee bar where we can come for a short break. We can move around all the furniture as we need. And last but not least, we're not forced to be completely quiet in here. This is our canteen where we eat lunch. But now, let's go on to the campus bar. Here, we gather for a coffee or beer after lecture. It's always a great place to meet new people, and it's completely student-run. We have access to the Unisports program, and what you do here totally depends on you. We have group fitness courses such as tennis, boot camp, or yoga, and if you prefer to work out on your own, we even have a fully equipped gym. At the University of St. Gallen, entrepreneurship is taught and put into practice. In many courses, we are asked to develop our own projects and to pitch in front of real clients. And because the best ideas usually don't come in a regular classroom, we have the makerspace. Here, we can work on our own business models and create prototypes. As most of my friends, I moved to St. Gallen for my studies. We all live in shared flats in the city center of St. Gallen and enjoy student life in this beautiful part of Switzerland. And by the way, the city center, it's just 10 minutes by foot from the campus. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you very soon on the campus of the University of St. Gallen.
And I say thank you to Andreas for showing us around on our beautiful campus here. Next, we would like to introduce you to our master program in computer science, which I'm sure is the topic which is most interesting for you. That's why you're here today. And for this, I would like to introduce you to Professor Siegfried Handschuh. He is the academic director of the Master of Science in Computer Science at our university, and he's also a professor for data science. Siegfried.
Thank you, Jochen. A very warm welcome here. I'm going to explain you our vision of the master and how it's implemented. So what courses we have, what kind of specialization we have, and as well as what are the requirements for you to study with us. As you see here in the agenda, we talk about the master now. Later, we talk about the specialization, which will be presented by my colleague Simon Meyer about software and system engineering. And then I will come back and present you the specialization of data science. Now, to why study here? Our vision is to provide you with a modern computer science study, but giving you the HSG, what we call a HSG DNA. So basically a cultural embedding of a deep technical computer science study in a business environment, so that the idea is that our students are able to walk and talk and understand a business environment. What does it mean? It means that we have computer science study with a width and depth of knowledge. So our idea was that we give you modern topics like big data, AI, human-computer interaction, systems engineering, and so forth. And as well, the broad connection to entrepreneurial orientations. That means also that we want you to be able, that you see the logo from the university, from Insight to Impact, we want you to be able to produce something, to have the ability to get something going and to build large computer systems, for example, and that you learn the tool of the trades. So that you learn computer science from a professional and methodological area, and hence we decided to set up the computer science study here from an engineering view. If you're familiar with computer science, you know it could also have a very mathematical view, but we decided that Insight to Impact means actually to be able to do something and to have an engineering view on computer science. Also, it is a study at a university. That means our knowledge that we teach you goes beyond programming. We teach you to develop development of systems. We teach you methods and processes of computer science, as well as the competence of analytics, reflection, and creation. And this is what we envision to be a modern computer science study. So from this vision, what do you get when you study here? As I mentioned, topics with a unique combination of computer science with entrepreneurship, business innovation, and leadership. Essentially, our whole campus has this campus of a business school, and you cannot walk through the halls here, at least in non-corona times, to see all the people who think about startups and the like. So this is what we offer you, as well as this, what I mentioned, the teaching in theory and application of computer science. And since this is a kind of university with small distances, and we also aim for a small but very fine computer science department, you will have a close mentorship, a lot of contact with the faculty, and you will have access to our cutting-edge technology. So we have very new and very fine equipped computer science lab with robots, and we have high-end supercomputers where we can teach you data science. And with all that, in that setting, you will experience the unique campus culture that Jochen has mentioned before, with the variety of events and student association. This is what we offer you. So what is the profile we expect from you? We expect you to have an academic background, undergraduate or early graduate in computer science or in a related subject. And we expect you to have an interest in one or both our two core areas, which is data science and which is software and system engineering. And of course, since we have this HSG DNA, we hope that you have a desire to acquire skills from the entrepreneurial field. Maybe even open up your own startup later. So, and now we come to the setup. So what is our study content? You see here an overview of core studies and contextual studies. And in the core study, as I mentioned, we teach you modern computer science topics like advanced software and system engineering, cybersecurity, data science, human-computer interaction. And also in the core studies, you can decide to go in one of the specialization. We will explain in a lot of detail later, as well as the contextual studies, where beside of computer science core, you learn aspects of legal, of social or ethical aspects of computer science. And the mentioned credits in management and entrepreneurship, which is the special flavor here at HSG. And so to say, the cherry on the top is our integrated project, where you will have a full-fledged cycle, project cycle with 2.5 person months, where you learn specification of a software system, the implementation, and ending in all done in a team spirit, which is the usual way to do it in computer science. And topics will be provided to you in a kind of project market where you choose the appropriate topic and the supervisor for that. And the whole thing is then ended with your master thesis, where you, as also typical computer science, research on a scientific topic by providing a proof of concept, which is usually a piece of software, and write scientific work, so that you also learn how to reflect, elaborate, and write a piece of text, so that you get the full-fledged aspects of all our education. I give you also an overview of the range of subjects. I mentioned before, we have the base modules. We have the management and the entrepreneurs aspect, where you have to do 12 ECTS. Of course, you're very much invited to do more than that. You can do stuff there like business model design, leadership for computer scientists, entrepreneurship and finance. Then, as mentioned, you have the choice of the two specialization, data science and software and system engineering. And if you happen to like software and system engineering a lot, but you would also like to learn about machine learning, I have good news for you, because you can do mix and match. So you can decide to go in the software and system specification, but that does not exclude you to choose one or two topics from the other specialization, or vice versa. So that's also very nice to do. Contextual studies, I mentioned that before. You can broaden your horizon there with topics like digital business ethics, robots and the end of work, game theory, and of course, improve your skills like negotiation and conflict management. The project I mentioned, and also the master thesis. So this is how the setup is, and maybe you're interested how the timeline would look of that. I'll show you a potential way how you can use the timeline and set your classes. So the idea is that in the first semester, you do our master-based modules, and there you can already choose to take management topics on the side or context topics on the side. In the second semester, we expect that you have chosen your specialization, data science or software engineering. In the third semester, we expect you to do the project. And in the fourth semester, we expect you to do the master thesis. That's our schedule. And we not offer only you this very exciting and modern topics, but also you have the possibility that what we lecture and what you do in the project is actually closely linked to our research topics. Since we have a bunch of very research-heavy colleagues, we have research in a wide range from topics with local companies here in St. Gallen, with national companies, but also national projects from SNF up to European-funded projects, where we have a wide range of topics, like we do research on chatbots, we do research on AI, like explainable AI. We do a lot of research in natural language processing, in Internet of Things, the development of neuroadaptive software systems, and so on and so forth, which also gives you a high-class education, because our projects and master theses will be very on the cutting edge of the research areas. With all that said, I present you our value proposition. So the idea is that we have HSG, and as you know, one of the best business universities in Europe. But now HSG with a computer science program, with a full-fledged computer science program, which gives you a deep knowledge in being able to implement stuff, but also being able to communicate, to understand and do business, to survive in the business world. And also, as mentioned, connects you to top research. We have put St. Gallen basically now on the map for computer science research. And this is a requirement on ourselves. Our goal to give you very highly qualified professors with excellent teaching towards the vision of this modern, future-oriented computer science studies, but with the twist of the HSG, and hence top faculty, top courses, and the top program. That's our promise to you. And what can you expect from the professional side? So what do you think can you become after studying here? Well, we gave you a bunch of potentials here that you can do. You can, if you high flyer, become a technology entrepreneur like Elon Musk, executive in an information technology related function, or you do the same application of your knowledge within a company and you become a key member of an innovation team, or you decide to develop software products that meet the needs of your customers. So basically you can open up your own company, or you work and are interested in innovation projects as a consultant, or you might even like research so much that you decide to stay here and pursue an academic career as a PhD. What can be said is that there is a huge demand on computer scientists. So in Switzerland alone, we have the need of thousands of them. So you have for sure a well-paid job, an interesting job, and future-oriented job in the future when you decide doing the study here with us. That's about the prospect. So now, if you're interested, the question would be, what is the setup? What are the deadlines? And what requirements do I need to fulfill to study here? Where can you tell a little bit of that, but also maybe answer more on the question around? So the degree here is a Master of Science, which is near the HSG. So Master of Science in Computer Science. The application window is still open. You have until the 31st of March to apply here. We start this autumn. As you might have seen before, the whole study has 120 ECTS. It's usually 2 years. It's a full-time study. And as you know, English is the lingua franca for computer science. Our language of the program is English. We teach in English. Okay, good. What are the requirements from your side? Well, when you have a university bachelor's degree with a major in computer science or something similar, you get admitted directly. In other cases, you get admitted for doing by condition of an examination. That would be the case if you have a university bachelor's degree, but only in something which was similar to computer science, or when you have a bachelor degree in computer science of a recognized University of Applied Science, what we call Fachhochschule here, or that's a special path for our own students here in HSG, for the high flyers there, when you have a HSG bachelor's or master degree. Then you can apply to be examined, and when you are successfully in an written and oral examination, you can also study computer science here. The test content is very nicely explained on the website. There's actually also a leaflet for that, where we give you book recommendations and such. In essence, the test content is fundamentals of computer science at a bachelor level, including algorithms, data structure abstractions, and methodologies of programming and distributed systems and software systems. Okay, then with that in mind, you can ask your questions in the chat now. I'm happy to answer them. I have 2 questions here on my iPad, but maybe we get more. One question here is, if one decides to work next to the master and works further away from St. Gallen, is there a possibility to join the courses online? At this point of time, we have designed, as you see, this as a full-time study with 2 years. So I would recommend that you be here on location. Next question is, how many courses do require attendance? Well, it's a university study, so we assume that you're self-motivated. We don't force you to be in the classes. That's up to you. There might be, however, occasions for doing assignments and stuff where we occasionally require your attendance here. Okay? Do you have further questions? No? Then I would like to present you our team. As Jochen mentioned, he is the executive director, and we also have a new one, Andreas Vogel, for the master. I'm the academic director. You can reach us by email at mcs@unisg.ch. We have a website, mcs.unisg.ch, or you can give us a phone call. We're very happy to give you guidance, and we hope to welcome here in the future. I look forward to welcome you to our Master of Computer Science. And with that in mind, I would like to hand over to my dear colleague, Simon Meyer, who is Professor for Interaction and Communication Systems, and will give you an overview on our specialization of software and system design. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Siegfried, for the introduction. And also from my side, a very warm welcome to you. And I'm also happy to have you all here in this open day. Could I get the slides, please? So what I will do for the next about 15 minutes is to introduce you to the specialization of software and systems engineering. And that guy in the middle of the picture, Felix, will get back to him later on. Right? I will do this in 4 steps, basically. In the first step, I will tell you what the goal of the specialization on a high level is. Then I will show you a few keywords that you will encounter as part of this specialization. And in a third step, I will show you what we offer within this specialization specifically, but also across the program, the master's program in computer science. And finally, I will show you a few concrete examples of work that is currently ongoing here and that we expect to be prototypes maybe, or archetypes maybe, for the results of your own master thesis in 2 years or so. So we are talking about the middle of this figure right now. So this is the two specializations, and I will talk about software and systems engineering specialization on the lower end of this, in the lower middle of this slide. What we want to teach you with this specialization is based in a context where we know that that software-based systems are ubiquitous in today's world, and where we know how central these are to the efficient running specifically of today's world. We want to teach you how to develop and design systems that are flexible, that can adapt, that can incorporate heterogeneous components, and that can scale worldwide. This is our general idea with this specialization. I will try to give you a concrete example of what we want you to learn. So one of our core goals is that you acquire a deep understanding of the trade-offs that are involved in the design and development of such systems. And I will pick something from the past 10 years that we saw going around, and many of you, especially those with a background in computer science, will know that in the field of distributed systems, a term that was called, what it is still called, REST APIs, was quite hyped over the past 10 years. And while we like to see this, while we liked public interest, very broad interest into basic architectural styles that make up the World Wide Web as we use it every day, many of us computer scientists didn't like to see the religious aspects around this. What we would like you to be able to is to understand the trade-offs that are involved with design decisions, such as the one for RESTful APIs. This is a wonderful system to do open and flexible systems, but it's not the first choice to do a performance system. What happened over the past 10 years is that people mixed and matched these different design decisions in the end, and what came out was a kind of a religious war between different factions. We want you to be a professional in the center of these trade-offs, someone who understands this and can take informed decisions on trade-offs such as these. Next, I will come to several non-functional parameters that we think are rather important in designing such large-scale, especially software systems. And I will throw a few buzzwords, you might say, at you that you will encounter as part of these studies. The first of these is, of course, the design and development, where we want to engage you with agile and lean principles and practices with current software engineering methodologies. And I will show you, in a few slides, I will show you one of the research projects that is currently running at our institute, and that targets increasing the agility of these processes even more. And I'm pretty sure that you're going to like this idea. I like it a lot, even though it's from a colleague of mine. So this is a wonderful idea. Next, of course, we will talk about scalability. Now, obviously, when we talk about scalability, we often talk about architectural styles and about how to scale infrastructure. What we also want to talk about is how to scale development teams. It's a different thing to lead a team of 3 people or to lead a team of 500 people. The next non-functional property that we are very much interested in, the next ility, we call it sometimes, is flexibility. We want to teach you about event-driven architectures, and we want to teach you about the trade-offs that are involved in discussions around monoliths versus microservices and connected topics. The next topic that I want to bring up is heterogeneity. Here, one of our goals will be to bring together artificial intelligence and human intelligence in our study program. And again, I'm pointing at a research project that I will show you in a few minutes. The next ility, in that sense, is adaptivity. We want to enable you to design adaptive systems that have a certain degree of context understanding and that are able to adapt to this context in real time. This is specifically interesting in the fields of the Internet of Things, the field of sensor systems, so in fields that are very close to my own heart. And then these keywords, this little overview of the content of the courses that we will offer to you brings me to the core principles, to the core offerings, to the core benefits that we bring to you. So as Siegfried was mentioning before, we bring to you a core of computer science, profound computer science, but we combine this with relevant skills in business models, in digital innovation, in entrepreneurship, and in leadership. We want you to go out here and not just be a computer scientist, but be a computer scientist with the cherry on top, you said, right? With the cherry that is the entrepreneurship idea. We want to bring to you a startup environment with highly motivated faculty, tutors, and staff. We are growing massively, so we have a startup environment in our institute right now. I think we grew to about 50 people over the past year, and we want you to indulge in this environment. We furthermore provide an excellent faculty to student ratio. So because we are a new study program, among others, because we're a new study program, we will be able to guide you. That was the idea that Siegfried was using, to guide you through your studies. This will not be an anonymous study program. Next, we provide state-of-the-art laboratories to also give you hands-on experience. This does not only go for the software and systems engineering specialization, but also for the data science specialization. And finally, we are binding our curriculum together with ongoing research at our different chairs. To give you a very concrete idea about what we want to offer to you, I want to offer you 4 examples of projects that are currently going on. On this slide, I will show you 2 current research projects at my own chair and at the chair of my colleague Barbara Weber. And on the next slide, I will show you 2 master theses that were recently, one is still in progress and the other one was recently concluded. So what I myself am researching is technologies to enable more autonomous production cells. This goes to the integration of artificial intelligence and human intelligence. We want to create systems that are goal-driven, systems that I can tell, can you build this, in that case, in the example that you're seeing on the slide, can you build this piece of furniture for me? And then I want the system to find out itself how to do that. And I think these slides are being distributed afterwards, so then you can click this link to get to more information about this research project. Another project by the chair of Barbara Weber is this other one, and I think that towards those of you who are already into the design of large-scale software systems, this will speak to your hearts. So what she is currently investigating is how to use neuroadaptive software, or how to use neuroadaptivity within development environments. So the idea there is that the IDE itself, I don't know what you're using, I'm using Eclipse most of the time. So the IDE itself would scan your pupil dilation, among other factors. And from this pupil dilation, while you look at your code, while you develop your code, it will try to find out how complicated your code is to understand. And then it would suggest how the code can be refactored to be better understandable. It's a kind of a conversation between you and your code. And I like this a lot. I like the basic idea of this. I hope that it's going to work out as planned. It's research, we don't know, right? That's the idea. For the last part, I want to go into 2 master theses that are currently running and were currently concluded at our institute, or in supervision by our institute. The first one is, the title of the first one was Intuitive EMG-based Robot Teaching, and the second one is about ubiquitous user interfaces. The second one has already been published. So this here illustrates one problem that we are currently facing in the engineering of robotic systems, especially in the engineering of small-scale collaborative robotic systems. Typically, an SME would buy such a robot and then teach the robot using a teaching pendant. So that teaching pendant is a little bit like this device. I would take it on my arm, and then I would program the robot on it, and then I would move the robot in between, because it requires me to go to and from between the robot and the teaching pendant. What Felix has developed during his master thesis is the following idea. We're attaching an EMG armband to Felix's arm, and this armband is able to measure electromyographic stimulation of his muscles. So what you will notice if you grab a glass, for instance, you will notice your muscles down here, that you can feel the different stimulations. Now, what we have is this armband to notice this stimulation, and then to notice when Felix grabs the robot arm firmly. And as soon as he grasps it firmly, the robot goes into something we call gravity compensated mode. So into a type of teaching mode where you can then move it. And in this way, Felix can program this robot in a way that is about 40% faster than current industry solutions. And this is a pretty cool result for a master thesis, I think. So Felix did the whole thing, the implementation of this idea, the patenting of this idea, and hopefully soon, then he was conducting a user study on this with about 30 users, and soon we hope to publish this at a conference. The final thing I want to show is a master thesis that we were supervising last year, 1.5 years ago, which was about creating personalized, tangible user interfaces from paper. So now I find this idea quite fascinating. Have a look at the video. The video's idea is that you probably forgot your presenter, right? But luckily, with this invention, you can build your own presenter from paper. So this is what Sandro is doing here. He's cutting out different paper shapes, putting them on the table. And now he can use these paper shapes to control his presentation, to switch slides, forward, backward, and also to cancel the presentation again. If you want to know how this works, then absolutely have a look at our research paper, which was published about a year ago, or ask me in the upcoming Q&A session. And with this, I would like to start the Q&A session. And after this Q&A, there will be a short video about the School of Computer Science, and then we'll continue at, I had this on the slide, so you're seeing this on the slide, I guess, at 3:45 or so with the rest of the program. Thanks a bunch for your attention, and I'm happy about your questions. And there are none right now. All right, great. So if questions come up, then get in touch with us, right? You have our names, you find us on the internet. We're all out there, and we actually reply to our emails. So that's pretty good. See you soon, maybe around here at the University of St. Gallen.
Künstliche Intelligenz gibt uns die Möglichkeit, etwas zu erschaffen, das uns ähnlich ist und das wir so noch nicht hatten. Und das finde ich sehr, sehr spannend.
Dass ich ein Kommunikationssystem habe, das im Wesentlichen die Welt zusammenbringt, das finde ich einfach sensationell.
Mein persönliches Interesse, ich bin ja Wissenschaftler, ist ja immer so ein bisschen Erkenntnis zu gewinnen, Wahrheiten zu finden. Und das Faszinierende an meinem Fach ist, dass man solche Wahrheiten eben in den Daten finden kann.
Ich bin durch Zufall dazu gekommen, weil eben zu dem Zeitpunkt, wo ich mit meiner Dissertation fertig geworden bin, in Innsbruck die Informatik neu aufgebaut worden ist.
Ich hatte ein Auslandssemester an der University of California in Santa Barbara und dort bin ich zum ersten Mal mit dem Thema Künstliche Intelligenz in Berührung gekommen durch einen Kurs und seitdem hat es mich nicht losgelassen.
Also warum ich hierher gekommen bin, ich habe hier, obwohl ich hier nie studiert habe, meine Diplomarbeit geschrieben.
Ich schreibe meine Masterarbeit beim Lehrstuhl für Interaktion, weil es mich fasziniert, wie Maschinen, Menschen kommunizieren und gemeinsam schwierige Aufgaben lösen können.
Ich finde, das ist ein Geniestreich, dass man die School of Computer Science hier hinbringt, dass man hier Informatik unterrichtet, in diesem unternehmerisch getriebenen Umfeld, das wir hier in der HSG bereits haben. Das finde ich, wir sagen, Match made in heaven.
Es steht natürlich eine Universität wie der HSG gut an, wenn sie jetzt eine Integration zu dieser Informatik schafft. Und das hat sie, glaube ich, sehr überzeugend. Machen die das jetzt mit dieser School of Computer Science?
Die Informatik ist die Wissenschaft der Automatisierung. Wie können wir virtuelle und physikalische Abläufe automatisieren?
Computer Science ist für mich ein Werkzeug, um unseren Alltag, unsere Arbeit oder auch unsere Freizeit einfacher zu gestalten.
Wir wollen Leute in der Tiefe Informatikkenntnisse vermitteln, sodass sie selber programmieren können, dass sie etwas umsetzen können, aber gleichzeitig anschluss- und kommunikationsfähig in die Breite werden zu wirtschaftlichen Themen.
Mich begeistert das Gestalterische, dass man Ideen umsetzen kann und dass eben die Dinge, die man umsetzt, potenziell dann auch in der Praxis Impact haben.
Eins meiner persönlichen Highlights, gerade im Bereich der künstlichen Intelligenz, ist die Nutzung von Satellitendaten, wie wir sie durch die verschiedenen Weltraumbehörden bekommen.
Wir bringen Ihnen Data Science bei, mein eigenes Fach. Natürlich das ist ein Highlight für mich, wenn ich mein eigenes Fach unterrichten darf.
Mein persönliches Highlight an der Masterarbeit war, einen Industrieroboter und den Computer zu integrieren und ihm einen Ablauf beizubringen, den ich zuvor bestimmt habe.
Wenn ich mit Studierenden spreche und sie frage, warum sie an die HSG kommen, dann sagen sie oft, dass es hier die Möglichkeit gibt, eine fundamentale Ausbildung in ihrem Fachbereich zu haben. Aber darüber hinaus haben die Studenten die Möglichkeit, wirklich interdisziplinär aktiv zu sein. Und das ist etwas, das, glaube ich, für die Zukunft und die entsprechenden Karriere, den Werdegang der Studierenden sehr, sehr wichtig ist. Der Einsatz der künstlichen Intelligenz ist sehr vielfältig. Es ist ein General Purpose Technology, welche in jede Industrie hineingeht, vom selbstfahrenden Fahrzeug, Chatbot, Bild verstehen.
Die Vision, die wir haben, gerade in meinem Bereich, ist, dass wir in 5 bis 10 Jahren Systeme haben, wo man mit einer Maschine reden kann und man merkt gar nicht mehr, dass man mit einer Maschine spricht. Wenn ich tatsächlich ein System auf Schweizerdeutsch trainieren wollen würde, bräuchte ich mindestens 3000 Stunden gesprochene Sprache. Und um die verarbeiten zu können, hat uns die Universität glücklicherweise gut ausgestattet. Wir haben einen sogenannten Superrechner, der hat 7 Petaflop.
In der Industrie sind derzeit viele Leute damit beschäftigt, manuell Maschinen zu integrieren. Wenn ich also die Informatik sehe als Wissenschaft der Automatisierung, ist das der logische nächste Schritt.
In Zukunft werden wir immer mehr Anwendungen sehen, die anpassungsfähig sind, anpassungsfähig an die Umgebung, aber eben auch anpassungsfähig an den Menschen.
Wie kann man denn einer Maschine eigentlich beibringen, dass sie die Welt so ähnlich versteht wie ein Mensch? Dass sie sich mit einem Menschen über diese Welt unterhalten kann und dass sie dieses Wissen anwenden kann, um auf diese Welt einzuwirken.
Wir programmieren keine Software, wir trainieren Software. Und wir haben noch keine Werkzeuge, um wirklich zu verstehen, wie diese tiefen neuronalen Netzen in Produkten entsprechend mit unserer Umwelt interagieren, mit den Menschen interagieren. Und wir müssen diese Systeme vertrauenswürdig machen, sicher machen, fair und ohne jegliches Bias.
Warum Informatik ein ganz starker Grund ist, dass es einfach eine spannende Disziplin ist.
Die Informatik gibt einem die ultimativen Mittel in die Hand, um kreativ zu sein. Ich kann kreativ sein, ich kann meine eigenen Ideen und Lösungen umsetzen, weitgehend unabhängig von physischen Rahmenbedingungen.
Wenn man in St. Gallen sich entscheidet, Computer Science zu studieren, dann hat man diesen Mix an einer Kerninformatik mit solider Basis, aber auch der Möglichkeit, in diese Nische des Unternehmertums, des Entrepreneurships zu gehen und auch dieses ganz einheitliche Ausbildungskonzept der Universität. Und das zusammen, das macht nicht nur kompetente Fachkräfte aus, sondern auch die zukünftigen Führungskräfte.
Hello, my name is Fabrice and I'm a Master of Business Innovation student at the University of St. Gallen. Given my strong interests in computer science and the topic of entrepreneurial purposes, I decided to take a second master's degree in computer science next year. You will get to learn all things around computational foundations, such as algorithms and the programmer's perspective on innovation, IoT, and artificial intelligence, which I think personally is very enhancing. I decided to study at the University of St. Gallen for multiple reasons, actually. First of all, given the strong network where you have, even as an alumni, great events to see your old peers and have sub-interest groups around all sorts of topics. Secondly, which is also very important for you new students, the St. Gallen is also a very vivid city where you have lots of students and lots of funny evenings. So I'll see you soon in the Masters of Computer Science degree.
Okay, thank you. I have the pleasure now to present to you our specialization in data science, which is here in the curriculum. And for the motivation is, you might have heard the sentence that data is the new steel or the new oil, which is a sentence alluding to the point that we have a kind of industrial revolution happening here with data. You might have heard about data-driven companies. You might have heard about autonomous cars. You know about the power of Facebook and Google and all that other big data collectors, because there's a lot of knowledge in the data. However, this knowledge in the data, and that's also an allusion to that metaphor with steel, needs a kind of processing, a kind of machine which takes the steel and creates something useful out of that. That is what we usually call machine learning. That's our machine here. And to give you an abstract motivation for data science, the idea is that we have nowadays a big mountain of data, which is various, which is noisy, which is complex, which is acquired, as I said, in social media, which is acquired in a company, which is text, which is pure data, which is in a database, which comes in a lot of form. And the idea is that some magic happens here, and then all of a sudden you get concise actions, insights, so-called smart data, which allows you to make decisions, which allows you to build intelligent systems. And the whole study of data science is about this magic happening here. And was also the reason for a big data science revolution. You might have heard about the term. It's very en vogue since 5 years, at the same time where artificial intelligence is now in vogue, where all of a sudden we have in scientific conferences algorithms which were 30% better than everything we had before, which was kind of a quantum leap in image recognition. And at the same time, at that moment, we experienced this quantum leap since 2 years in what we call natural language processing. So in machines that understand language, which you might see in Siri, which you might see in Alexa, and in a lot of products nowadays. And that's just the beginning. I mean, I have a daughter of 12 years, and I tell her, I don't think you need to do a driver license anymore. I expect very highly that in 5 to 6 years, you have a car which drives you to the location, and getting a driver's license will just be a hobby anymore. And that is all done by the power and the magic of data, which is data science. So how is that revolution happening? Why is it happening now? Why is it happening since some years? That's why we have more data than we ever had before. It's this high volume of high quality data, but also we have more storage capabilities. We can store tera and petabytes of data. And added to that, we have better algorithms to process the data. We have deep learning. You might have heard about that. That's the idea of this biology-inspired neural network, which processes the data, which can be amazingly big. We have deep layers with 500 layers and billions of connections and parameters. And we have more computer power than we ever had before. You might have heard about Moore's law, which essentially means that every 2 years, the processing capabilities will double. So imagine what is possible in 2-3 years when you end the study. And with this mixture of data and the algorithm of the computer power, this allows us to do now nearly unimaginable things before. And if you remember my presentation before, I told you we have here cutting-edge facilities for you to use here when you do this study here. And one of those cutting-edge facilities is our supercomputer, which we're very proud of. Actually, in the meantime, a cluster of supercomputers, where one machine has 2 petaflops. Now you might say, I don't have an idea what 2 petaflops are. These are 2,000 million floating point operations. And you still might say, you don't know what that means. But imagine if every person on Earth would have, if he had enough fingers, 265 pocket calculators. And he would be able to do, within 1 second on these 265 pocket calculators, 1 floating point, that's a comma operation, in parallel. That's what 2 petaflops are. On my own research, that actually meant at the end of the day that research I conducted, 3 years before with a bunch of graphic cards, and our calculations took a month. That take us now 1 day or less. And the power, well, that's what you learn when you study computer science, is the power of these graphic cards is that it turns out they're very good in doing linear algebra. and vector space modeling, and that's exactly the kind of calculation which we need in machine learning and especially in deep learning. And with that, I move over to the research topics we do here. This is a slide about my own research. I do a lot of research in natural language processing. That means we use the power of those new algorithms, we use the power of that machine to build systems that understand language. I mean, with that spoken language, translate that to written language, analyze the language, so to do text analysis, extract important information out of the text you've spoken on the level of content. So what locations you talk about, what people you talk about, but also on the level of rhetorics. So how do you create your argumentation, which allows you to do a lot of things. You can do automatic text summary by containing the semantic of it. You can build systems that allow you to answer questions, complex questions against a lot of data which you have collected, for example, against Wikipedia. You can even build systems for e-learning. So imagine a chatbot which you can ask questions about your study. And the chatbot has the advantage, it never gets tired. You can ask the most ridiculous question at any time of the day, and you will never be embarrassed with that machine. But that's fantastic. So think about Alexa++, what's been happening here. And you might have seen also the revolution which is happening now in generation, automatic generation of text. We have in the meantime systems that can write automatically books, so to say. Not perfect, you might still recognize it's not written by a person, but amazing quality. And at the same time also we do research on, as I said, speech analysis. Then we look we do that for English, we do that for German, and then we look for further challenges and then think about speech analysis in your mother tongue, which would be if you Swiss German, and then we deal with the challenges there. But that's my research. My colleague, Damian Bort, who is our professor for AI and machine learning, he does also something in the area of speech. He goes in a different direction. He generates artificial voices, actually not artificial, but imitation of existing voices. So this is a system, you might say that's not impressive because you have something on your MacBook unlike that, which can read text to you. But the amazing part of the thing is if it has enough data of an existing voice, like from Roger Federer or Angela Merkel or Boris Johnson, it can simulate the voice after enough training. So you wouldn't be able to see the difference of the real voice anymore. So that's amazing. And applications for that is you can imagine that you can get a news article read to you by the actual voice of the author who has written the text. So this is the kind of cutting-edge research which we do here and which you will be taking part of if you take our classes. And from this cutting edge there, of course, so this daily bread task of a data scientist, we teach you also that, which is transforming business questions, data-driven business questions, to actually data science tasks. And I would like to show you just a few of them, what it actually means to do data science. So the starting point of data science is statistic, and with statistic at the first point, we look what is. So what's actually the case in the moment, like monitoring real-world events in social media and stuff. Like you could do political analysis in social media. You can see if somewhere a natural disaster is happening, even before it comes in the news, because it might be mentioned somewhere. In social media, you can even, you have seen that on Black Lives Matter, monitor protests, civil unrests. And the monitor can also be used for business use cases. So we work with one company, for example, who is interested how the customers are talking about their products. So what opinions do customers have on Amazon, for example? How do they talk about the product? But also, if the competition has a similar product, how do customers talk about that? So that's about analyzing what is. That's the first data science task. And the second one is doing prediction, right? You have a lot of data. You have the power of statistic. Now you can actually use predictive statistics, for example, for trend prediction on a stock market, or predictions for marketing. So what would be a typical application here? We have products that are sold in Germany. We know how well they do. We have all the data. Now we try to make a prediction for Switzerland. The Swiss market is a little bit different, but we can take that into account with our numbers and do a prediction. What is the best price for the product in Switzerland and how well would it do here under that different conditions? That's one of the prediction things we do in data science. Or like ticket sales, or like election outcomes, for example, in the American election recently, or predicting the career path. So would you believe, based on your LinkedIn profile, we can actually do a prediction about your future career based on the data we have collected. That's data science for you. And of course, can even be complex. We can analyze complex network structures in social media, finding cross-domain partners, predicting hyperlinks, seeing who is the leader in the social media discussion, who is one of the lurkers, what is your position in the network, stuff like that. And finally, we can detect anomalies. That's interesting for financial data, for example. Is there fraud happening here? Are the news real, or do we have fake news? So this is the whole bunch of analysis you can do when you know how to do data science. And I would like to end my presentation with some testimonials. We don't have the master yet, but we all do teaching in a business context here, where we teach data science. And here are some statements from students where people found a passion for data. That's nice. Or one was able to acquire his new skills, and he is now has his own projects in financial engineering. That's something he have learned here, but up to the point that they like to do the research in the data science area. And with that in mind, I would like to give over to the QA session, Patricia and Sandro. Thank you very much.
Hi, so I welcome you to the Q&A session. I'm Patricia. I'm currently studying marketing at the University of St.Gallen, and I'm working at the School of Computer Science next to it.
Hi together, I'm Sandro. I recently finished my master's degree in business innovation, and I already chose a lot of courses from the Computer Science Institute. And so kind of if you have any question in the end, you can always ask how we lived in these classes and what the challenge was. So we already received a few questions and we will answer them now. And if you have questions, you can still write and we will get it on our tablet. So the first question for Patricia is, do you have a student apartment on campus? Is it easy to find a room in St. Gallen?
At the moment, I'm living in Winterthur and I'm commuting or following the classes online. But before I was living in St. Gallen, I lived in a shared flat with some friends, and it was really easy to find a good room and a nice apartment. So if you're interested in an apartment or in a shared flat, maybe look at Sharing is Caring. I think there are a lot of apartments available if you're interested. So Sandro, what is the difference between studying computer science in St. Gallen or Zurich?
I think St. Gallen has a broad focus in technology as well and entrepreneurship next to the technology part. I didn't study in Zurich or at ETH or at the University of Zurich, but I think Patricia has a few friends who studied there. Maybe your opinion on that?
Sure. I myself did my bachelor's in Zurich, so I can't really tell you anything about the computer science major, but what's a big difference, or what was a big difference for me, is the size of the city and the size of the university. So in Zurich, I had to travel between classes. I had to go from the main building to Oerlikon, take the tram or the bus, whereas here you can walk everywhere. And it's a lot easier to be part of the student community because you just meet your friends again in the Mensa or in the campus bar. So I think it's a lot closer, more personal in St. Gallen than it was in Zurich, at least for me. And do you recommend to take a room, or would you recommend to commute from Bern? Sandro?
Thanks for the question. I think Patricia already mentioned a few points. I think if you want to have a real student experience, you should better live near campus, because then you will meet other students, you will have kind of the full university experience, and you will meet a lot of new people in your free time. And I think it's really cool to meet some new people from all across the planet. But I think it's possible, but I wouldn't recommend it. But I think if you travel a lot and you like it, then it's not a problem. Patricia, could we have the PowerPoint slides afterwards? I think you will receive them, so I think we can go over this question. Are there options to do sports? Is it for free?
Yeah, there are several options. You can either go to a gym, that's for free, or take classes, which can be body combat, muscle pumps. I think there's body attack as well. So there's a wide variety of classes you can choose, or you can participate in a sports club and be part of a team and do sports that way. And also St. Gallen has a lot of nice jogging trails and the forest is really close. So if you like to go hiking or running, that's a great option as well. Sandra, are there any exchange programs with other universities?
Overall, I think the University of St. Gallen has a lot of partner universities in America and Asia, and yes, I think almost in every region. But for the computer science degree, it is not 100% sure which university will participate. But I think in the end, there will be a lot of solution as well here in this area, because as you know, it's kind of the first run. So it's growing, but I think the information will be public soon. And I think they will try hard to get a lot of possibilities for you to study abroad. Because of the COVID situation, do you think that the following semesters will be held online, have the possibility to follow them online, Patricia?
We don't know yet, so I can't really tell you how it will be in the autumn semester, but St. Gallen really appreciates being a campus university, so we like having discussions here, having group works, being part of the student community. So I think, or I could imagine that there will be some classes held online, but we can't really tell, and there will, if possible, for sure be classes again on campus. Sandro, how many students will be in the new master's program?
Yeah, I think the goal is that there is at least one class, and I think it will be around 30 students if possible. But as you know, it's the first run, so it's hard to say how many students in the end will participate. But I think it will be more kind of not that many people. It will more be a smaller group, and I think that's really good, because in this case you will get a lot of talks with your professors, and it will be a really good relation between you and the professors and students. Which languages are required to study computer science in St. Gallen? Which level in English, German?
Well, the program is in English, so you for sure need to be comfortable in following along a lecture in English or writing papers in English. But because everything is in English, you don't really need any German unless you want to participate in the student community, but even that is really easily possible in English. So if you're learning English or you can't speak English, you will be fine. Do you think we have an international student community here, Sandro?
Yes, I think there are already a lot of international communities. I think you have at least almost a club for every country, and it's growing. So I think the university overall is really international, and I think you will like it, because you will meet a lot of new students from all across the planet. You will see a lot of new cultures, and I think you can participate in every association you want to be in. So a specific question to me: how good was your coding before starting? Are you learning a lot of the coding parts in the masters, or do you have already to be a really good software engineer when starting? Yes, I think I can already code, but not on a crazy level. I think more on a basic level. But I think to participate in the computer science degree, you need to pass an exam. I think languages will be Python or another one. But I think you just need to understand the basics. You need to I think you don't need to be a pro to really participate. But I think if you have more questions, you can always write an email to Simon. And yes, because I know that he that he knows kind of the level you need to be. But I think overall, you don't have to be a pro. I think you don't have to work in software engineering to really participate here. But I think you need at least an understanding of kind of coding and software development. But yeah, I think you will find further information on the pre-exam you will need to pass to participate in the program. So I think that was the last question from our side. Yes, if you have more questions, you can always write an email to us. I think we would be really happy to answer all the things which are not clear at that point. But otherwise, you can always approach me and Patricia as well. I think we have both LinkedIn, so you can just write us a message or an email, and we are really happy to talk with you. I think I already spoke with 2 or 3 people before, and I think it really helps to get to know the master degree and get to know kind of the environment you will be in. And maybe a few words from your side as well.
I just can agree with Sandra. Just reach out to us, to the faculty or to the admission office if you have any questions. We really would like to help you, and we really, really hope to welcome you next summer for the new program. And until then, have a nice time and enjoy your weekend.